Your highs, your lows, your loves, your losses. This is your Soul Care Companion podcast, hosted by Marcus and Marion. Your Soul Care Companion podcast, the place where faith, passion, and determination create the greatest stories ever told.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today. This is your Soul Care Companion podcast. I'm Marcus.
And this is Marion.
And we have a special guest with us today, Mr. Demario. He has seen a lot of ups and he's seen a lot of downs. I've been with him before in Phipps Plaza, spending lots of money. And today he's here to share his story with us. Thank you so much, Demario, for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right, I tell you what, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Demario. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I've been here for a while.
So let's get to the real nitty gritty. Today, we've asked you to join us because you have seen a lot of ups and you've seen a lot of downs. Spending thousands of dollars in Phipps Plaza to not having money to pay your bills and automobiles being repoed. Tell us about that.
6 years ago, I want to say in my life, I feel like I was on the top of the world. Had just finished school, had got an associate's degree in marketing, had plans to move into North Carolina. It just seems like everything was going really well for me. Love to party, love to spend money, but I also always had a relationship with God.
Real quick, tell us what you like to spend money on.
I like to spend money on fine dining, myself, my clothes, my friends, family. Love to buy nice gifts.
I think I was around one time when you bought some $1,500 Christian Louboutins for your sister's prom.
Right. That was a gift that I wanted to give her. I always felt like my little sister was almost like my child. So it was like I always wanted to give her what I didn't have.
And I remember you driving off the lot in a brand new 7 Series BMW. I think this is when they first released them.
Well, it was like a 6 Series.
Oh, 6 Series, sorry.
It was the Grand Coupe. And I left off of the lot with several of those. You should have remembered that.
Okay, so you've done a lot. I remember you traveling quite a bit. Always had the latest sunglasses.
Right. The latest everything. I just thrived on having the best, wanting to be the best on my level though. Not really in competition with anybody else, but wanting to be a better Demario.
So what happened? When did all of that take a downfall or downward spiral?
I would have to say where I started off at around the time that I graduated or I completed my degree and was about to move. I had experienced my friend and my lover sleeping around with each other. This had really messed with me mentally and I didn't know how to deal with it. So looking back on it now, I think I went more towards party drugs, more like ecstasy and things like that, to try to just get it out of my mind and try to move on. So when that took place, I was devastated at the time. I was trying to hide it and didn't know that I was really going through what I was going through.
And when you say try to hide it, what do you mean?
Try to just go and get up under the next person or present myself to everybody else that it was okay and I wasn't worried about what had happened. So, I wanted to appear strong to people okay, they did that to me and it's okay and I moved on, but I wasn't moved on.
Gotcha.
So is it safe to say that you grew a dependency on recreational drugs?
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that you always had a relationship with God. During this particular season of your life, where was your relationship then?
It's always been present. The relationship probably wasn't as strong as it had been. As far as like rituals of me get up every morning praying and doing things of that nature, talking to God and just, seeking him out, like listening to that small, still inner voice. I had kind of got away from that. And
at what point did it change?
It changed. I really can't pinpoint the time when it really changed, but it came from, well, I can say like of mornings of getting up after doing recreational drugs, not talking to God, because that was my ritual. So with me doing recreational drugs, having down times of 3 days, and you know what I'm saying, like when I'm talking to God every day, I broke that ritual. That ritual and that little relationship time I was having with him.
So the drugs became your God.
I can say that today, but at the time that I couldn't, I wouldn't have never said it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not what I saw. Because regardless of whether I was on the drug or not, I still would call on the name of Jesus no matter what.
So take us back to you partying, the drug use. What was next?
Okay, I finished school, just found out, about the relationship, devastated. Had plans on moving to North Carolina, you remember? And I was just it was time where my lease was up. I was in limbo. I was staying out of a hotel, and I was doing these drugs real hard at that time. And I ended up going to a good friend of mine's house. She invited me to stay, and I went over to her house. One morning after doing drugs, I woke up and I could not walk.
Wow.
So from that point, I went to the hospital. They admitted me. I stayed 17 days. It was nothing that they could tell me what was wrong with me. They released me and just allowed me to go and start doing physical therapy. At this time when I left the hospital...
real quick. You went to one of the finest hospitals in the Southeast, because I remember visiting you.
Yes, Piedmont.
And they ran a battery of tests.
For 17 days.
And nothing.
Found nothing.
And you still weren't able to walk out of there.
So, but once I walked out of there, they put me in physical therapy, and things kind of got better again. But when things got better again, I started back depending on the drugs again.
When you say things got better again, what do you...
Well, my walking. I was able to walk without a cane. It wasn't as stable, but it was coming back.
And how old were you at the time?
30.
So 30 years old.
30 years old.
Went from being vibrant, like just on top of the world, and then it just all snatched.
In a day, my life changed.
Wow.
It all changed for me in a day. And just trying to learn how to deal with that, and still trying to keep a brave face, not being honest about how I'm really feeling on the inside and what's really going on with me. At the time, hoping and wishing that somebody would see that this is not who I am and come try to pull me out of it. But, like, I don't know, like it's just been a lot.
So, you started physical therapy. How did this affect your life at that point?
Well, it affected my life dramatically because, like, I own homes, several homes. I had started a small investment company where I had employees that depended on me, and I had family members that depended on me. So when this happened, this kind of, like, I just saw other people's lives fall apart because mine fell apart.
Wow. Woo. So family depended on you financially. Other people depended on you financially. What was life like? Were you able to maintain the business? How did you make money? How did you pay your bills? Did you still have that 6 Series BMW?
Well, no, I don't have the 6 Series BMW.
What happened to it?
It was repossessed because I kind of started falling behind on bills. But not only was I falling behind on bills, I still had this secret drug problem going on. And at this time, even though I was placed in the hospital and everybody came and saw me, nobody still knew that it was a drug problem going on.
So you were addicted to...
Later on, I came to grips with that it was an addiction because of all of the things that I had started to lose. When I first went into the hospital, I owned 3 BMWs at the time. My friend had a BMW. It's like it was chaos everywhere in my life. My car was repossessed. I wrecked the other cars. It's like I was just constantly losing things.
Where was God?
He was still always there. Because the funny thing is I was still always being provided with everything that I needed. But I chose to use what was being provided for the drug use. It never stopped. He never stopped. It's still, I mean, you see where I'm at today. It never stopped. And that's just, I know, like his love that he had for me.
So, you lost cars, you lost money.
I lost cars, money, friendships, relationships with people. I withdrew from the world. I went in hiding. I was ashamed for people to see me the way that I was because I felt like it was the drug that made me the way that I was versus people seeing me and not knowing and saying, oh, that this is just a disability, you know, whatever. But I always felt like people could see the sin that I was doing. So I would go in hiding and do everything alone.
So you mentioned something earlier. You said you had employees depending on you, families depending on, but who was there that you could depend on?
I had people there to depend on, but as far as financially, like no one, because I was the breadwinner.
And that brings me to my next question. Oftentimes, I'll say this before I ask it, oftentimes when you're used to being the one who's always providing, the one who's the giver, it's really hard to receive, and not only to receive, to ask for help. Did you find yourself in a situation?
I'm just not learning how to come out of that out of all of these years. I'm just not learning that lesson to say that I have to get out of my way in order to save my life.
Say it again.
I have to get out of my way in order to save my life.
What does that mean?
That means that I have to put aside my pride and get out here and ask for help and seek the loved ones and just think of all the people who say that they love me and truly believe that they love me and know that they don't want to see me gone.
I mean, we talk about this a lot. We and this is another shameless plug. We do the conversation, and we recently had a conversation event where we talked about needing help, and we found that it's so hard for men to ask for help,
and even for women who have been, used to and accustomed to being, the breadwinner, the independent woman, the one who provides. That I don't need a man. I don't need, I can do this myself. It's hard when life, changes and it happens. And you're like, wait a minute, I used to have this thing under control.
One of the things that I've found that has helped me get out of that is just to realize that it's me It's my life, and I got to make the final decision, and I cannot be worried about what